Good morning. I am Andrew Whaley. You've probably seen, if you've looked at much religious art, a famous painting of Jesus where he is standing outside of a door of a home holding a lantern and knocking, seeking to gain entrance to the inside. We have a version of that painting in this stained glass window here at the church. This window is in the vestibule between the gathering area and the narthex of the sanctuary. It's pretty small. You pass by it. It's on your right as you make your way into the sanctuary. The painting and the stained glass window, they're based on a verse in the book of Revelation. The 3rd chapter, verse 20, it says, "Listen, I am standing at the door knocking. If you hear my voice and open the door, I will come in to you and eat with you, and you with me." These words are addressed to the church in Laodicea. John of Patmos, who's writing the book of Revelation, he's addressing this letter to 7 churches. Laodicea is a church he is describing in this book as lukewarm. They're neither hot, which means that they're consistently living the way of Jesus and proclaiming his name in the world, nor are they cold, meaning that they're denying all of Christ's intentions entirely. They're lukewarm. You see, for John, the greatest sin that a Christian community could commit is accommodation to the ways of the Roman Empire. That you would call yourself a Christian when it's convenient or when you know it won't cost you anything, but that you hide or deny your Christian faith when it means someone might reject you or you might have to suffer oppression. So John writes that Jesus is standing at the door knocking, seeking to gain entrance. Now you can see in the picture there's no handle. There's no handle on the door. Jesus can't force his way in. It's up to us, it's up to the Laodiceans if they're going to give up their way of lukewarm faith and open the door to him, to let him in, to make their life a hot commitment to Christ. So contrast this verse, Jesus standing at the door, knocking, these images of the locked door with no handle, with Jesus just banging on the door from the outside. Contrast this to the church that John addresses right before Laodicea. This is the church in Philadelphia. This is Revelation chapter 3, verses 7 and 8 and 10. "And to the angel of the church in Philadelphia write, these are the words of the Holy One, the true One, who has the key of David, who opens and no one will shut, who shuts and no one opens. I know your works. Look, I have set before you an open door, which no one is able to shut. I know that you have but little power, and yet you have kept my word and have not denied my name. Because you have kept my word of patient endurance, I will keep you from the hour of trial that is coming on the whole world to test the inhabitants of the earth." Hear the contrast? When speaking of Philadelphia, Jesus has a key. He's the doorman, and he can decide who the door is open for or who it remains shut for, the opening and the closing of the door to his kingdom. And yet he has set an open door before the Philadelphian congregation, a door that no one can shut. So why is that? Well, it's because these Christians, unlike the ones in Laodicea, have not denied my name, and they have kept my word of patient endurance. That's a key. Patient endurance. I was reminded of this word, these 2 words in English. It's 1 word in Greek. I was reminded of this word when I read David Brooks's column in the New York Times on Friday. Brooks talked about that we have entered the endurance phase of this pandemic. This is what he has to say. "We have entered the endurance phase of this pandemic. We are slowly mastering this disease, but we have not yet done so. And so we wait and endure. Endurance is patience. It is shortening your time horizon, so you just have to get through this day. Endurance is living with unpleasantness. In fact, it is finding you can adapt and turn the strangest circumstance into routine. Endurance is fortifying. It's discovering you can get socked in the nose and take it. Now, this is a little different take, but it's not entirely unrelated to what John of Patmos is talking about when he writes to the Christians in Philadelphia. What we translate as patient endurance in the Bible is from a Greek word, hupomone, which does mean to patiently endure. But that does not mean that you're passively waiting around for the end of the world. Just hold up and hold on and God will make it all better. It's not that kind of passive endurance. It's not following some kind of blueprint or prescription where if we just get these things accomplished, then the end will come and we won't have to endure any longer. It's nothing that we can make happen faster because of our activity in the midst of what we are enduring. It is our participation in the witness to the Lordship of Jesus Christ in our lives, no matter the circumstances or the consequences. Consistent, measured, authentic Christian practice. Now, a lot of Christianity around us, especially in the United States, is based on experiences that are ecstatic, immediate, spontaneous. Those don't help us patiently endure. That's like trying to fuel for a marathon by eating Cap'n Crunch cereal and gummy bears and thinking that that can sustain you all 26.2 miles. It doesn't give you the nourishment that you need. Endurance in the Christian life comes through ongoing, regular practices, prayer, study of Scripture, giving of money, singing praise to God, checking in on others, and sharing life. These practices tune our hearts and focus our vision for where Jesus is acting in the world, and then they fuel us with the courage to step out and participate in that activity ourselves. This is the diet that is full of carbohydrates and proteins and electrolytes that are needed to endure in the Christian way for an indefinite period of time. In fact, this way of patient endurance is not something unique for us as Christians because we're in a pandemic. This is how the Christian lives every single day. Patient endurance for as long as God needs us, with our eyes fixed to the horizon, with the hope of a new heaven and a new earth. We've been in this endurance phase of Christian faith for some 2,000 years now. We can be the example to all the others who are just now learning what it means to endure and hold one another in difficult days. And so as we remain consistent and constant in this way of faith, we follow the lead of the church in Philadelphia. Because you see, we're not the first church of the open door. But hopefully, we are modeled after that first church who have kept the Lord's name and who know how to patiently endure.